Viking's beautiful new music score, The Traveller, was written by Debbie Wiseman, Classic FM composer-in-residence and Viking godmother.
Here we go.
Just before she recorded the piece at Abbey Road Studios, she shared a bit of her creative process.
It starts with the violins very, very high, and then the flute comes in, like a bird call. The idea behind the opening of the piece is pure inspiration from having been on the river ship. You wake up and it's early in the morning and you look out at the water and the sunlight's glistening on the water and there's a little bit of bird song and it's so calm and so beautiful. But then the journey really gets going and we set sail when the harp comes in. Then our solo violinist, who is the traveller in the piece, starts playing the melody and he's suddenly on his journey. And once I got that opening and the journey starting on the harp and the violin, then I could then allow the piece to sort of breathe. And it came so naturally, actually. It was kind of a feeling of, once I'd got going, I couldn't stop, and all the music just, it flowed from that opening little phrase. I had so much inspiration from actually going on the river ship and the ocean ship and actually experiencing what it feels like. The adventure of it all, the beauty of it all, the spirit of it all, that I hope has all gone into the piece. I wanted a solo instrument to be at the centre of the piece because that, to me, would suggest our traveller, and then the orchestra can be everything else around it. So I chose a solo violin. They usually lead the orchestra. The solo violin usually leads the orchestra. So to me, that was the right instrument. It's also very lyrical and expressive. And I imagine my traveller standing up playing his solo and experiencing all the exciting trips that he goes on, and then the orchestra being his adventure. So the melody that you hear on the violin, although it works, it sounds nice on the piano, when it's played by a violin and you hear that, na 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 na, suddenly, because a violin can bow and actually play very legato, very beautifully lyrically, it allows the tune to breathe in a way that it doesn't quite on the piano, which is a percussive instrument, and the notes sort of die away quite quickly. But with a violin, he can bow it, and it just sounds just very expressive.
And it flows.
And it flows, yeah, exactly, like a river. Yeah. With the traveller, it's telling the story of one traveller, our solo violinist, making friends, enjoying the experience, enriching himself, learning, being curious about what. I mean, there's a moment in the piece where I suppose the curiosity thing, this little moment. And it rises up as if you're seeing, da 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 da, you know, and that to me said, this is somebody wanting to explore, somebody wanting to be curious about what they're seeing.
So was it my imagination, or did I also hear Viking horns somewhere in the piece?
No, it's not your imagination at all. There's a moment in the middle of the piece where I wanted to break off from everything orchestral and just let the brass speak on their own, which is where you hear your Viking horns. What I'm trying to say with that moment is that I've been on this wonderful adventure on the river, and now I'm going to go further afield. And the clarion call of the brass is to take him to the sea and to go on a sea adventure. So you hear the horns, your Viking horns, and then the trumpets join. And then everybody comes in. And you're off to sea. Actually, I wrote that the moment I came back from visiting the Viking Sea.
The ocean ship.
The ocean ship, yeah, and we were on Viking Sea. And I wrote that because I wanted something that had real presence and weight to it. And of course, brass instruments are the key to that. What happens at the end, different to what happens at the beginning, is that the traveller's reached the end of the journey and he's experienced all these lovely adventures, and the other travellers are joining in, so you hear the other members of the orchestra join in, and they've all been on the journey together. He makes friends, there's harmonies in the music. The clarinet and the violin play in harmony. They join together as friends at the end and play the final phrases together. Everybody ends the journey together, feeling enriched that they've been on this lovely journey. It's nice to end quietly, because then you're back where you started. It's a circle. It felt more, just more subtle.